then I will call the August meeting of the Human Rights Commission to order. And we'll do roll call. Commissioner Harkin.
Present.
Colash, present. Kadura? No. Idris is gone. Priest.
Here.
Lusala. Paul Shantz.
Here.
Mendez Shannon.
I'm present.
And Mohammed. Absent. Okay. Do we have a volunteer to read the Native American land acknowledgement?
I can read it.
Thank you, Mark.
We meet today in the community of Iowa City, which now occupies the homelands of Native nations to whom we owe our commitment and dedication. The area of Iowa City was within the homelands of Iowa, Meskwaki, and Sauk, and because history is complex and time goes far back beyond memory, we also acknowledge the ancient connections of many other indigenous peoples here. The history of broken treaties and forced removal that dispossessed indigenous peoples of their homelands was and is an act of colonization and genocide that we cannot erase. We implore the Iowa City community to commit to understanding and addressing these injustices as we work toward equity, restoration, and reparations.
Thank you. Okay, item number 3 on the agenda, approval of meeting minutes of June 24th, 2025. So take a look at those in your packet.
Yeah, the packet numbers in mine, page 3 came before 2, but I move we approve them.
Okay,
Let me look.
No, you
I
just,
second.
you just did what I did.
that's fine. All right, okay, motion and second to approve the meeting minutes from June 24th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, minutes approved. All right. Item 4, public comment of items not on the agenda. Is there anyone here that would wish to comment on an item not on our agenda? All right, seeing none. Item 5 is correspondence. I didn't see anything in the packet. Stephanie, was there anything else, any other correspondence?
I think it was just for the Human Rights Awards and for the program tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, we've got a few items in there, and then, yeah, I think the one thing that,
The one from October, sorry.
okay. Yeah, tomorrow there's an event, so there's a flyer in here. Making your community safer, one crime at a time, I believe. Yeah. Okay, great. Oh, looks like, yeah, Commissioner Mohammed has joined us. Hi, Lubna.
Hi, how are you, everyone? It's been a while.
Great. Yeah, thanks for joining. All right, we are on agenda item number 6, update from the police department's community outreach. Good to see you again, Trey.
For the record, Trey Hall, Iowa City Police Department Community Outreach. Hope you guys are all doing well. Glad to see you. Just to give a little bit of an update, it has been a while since I've been here. Summer has been absolutely crazy with the police department. We team up a lot with the fire department, so we're kind of running 2 shows at once, sharing a lot of the events that we do together. So this is not an exhaustive list of everything we've been to, but it's just kind of a throw out there of all the things that I could remember off the top of my head. So on the 1st of July, we did a handout event at the Arc, the Southeast Arc, on the Muscatine area with the fire department, the county ambulance, and there was a lot of enthusiasm there. And we just kind of were there for support, giving out items, that sort of nature, gave some squad tours. The fire department did a tour with the actual engine itself, and then the ambulance crew was there as well. They had asked a lot of good questions, so that's kind of the reason that I throw that out there. And then the week of the July 28th, we had EMS camp out at Terry Trueblood area. For a week, it was Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursday, Friday. junior high and high school respectively. Taught them skills that we use in our job, the fire department uses in their job. And then we had EMS there. The emergency management was out there. We had a whole host of different groups. We went to the animal shelter, taught them a little bit about the jobs that were there. We had some supervisors come out and speak about their role within the individual departments that came. And I think they really enjoyed it. We moved it out to the grounds out there just because it's more accessible for training and transportation rather than having it out at Station 4, which it was before. And I think we'll probably continue to have it out there. It was really good for the fire stuff, particularly because they have the fire tower and it was right next to the animal shelter, so they got to tour that as well. On the 30th, the police department joined really almost every single city, part of the city, department-wise at the food distribution event for, was it Healthy Kids, I think is what it was. We were there, fire was there. Like I said, just about every department was there. We gave out food, frozen food, loaded into cars, loaded up the boxes and such, so that way we can make sure everyone had food that they need. It turns out that they actually had a lot of leftovers, so that's always good. They were able to add that back to the existing pile that's already clearly at the food shelter. On the 5th of this month, we had National Night Out over at Weatherby Park, as well as on the far west side at Christ the King. Gave out 142 backpacks filled with school supplies that were all donated through United Iowa Financial. We were able to give that out, so that was really, really impactful for the community to get them on the right start for the school year. And then on the 13th, United Way and Big Brothers Big Sisters hosted the Back to School Bash, which I stopped by and helped, again, give out some necessities to the community to start the school year on the right foot. And in the works with the fire department, we're working with the fire department to set up a workshop or like a hands-on thing with the Miriam Girls Club, which we hope to get rolling here soon. I'm not exactly sure what the timeline for that is, but we are working towards that. We started to discuss the winter clothing drive. That's in the works. I think the distribution date is the week of October 12th through the 19th, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I will have more information. It'll obviously be broadcasted once they have those set in stone, but I do know that we talked about that. And then bringing my mind back a couple of months, Commissioner Kelsey and I were at the CVI workshop. I think we had some pretty good conversations at that, and I really enjoyed it, so thank you with that. And then the last thing is that next month on the 19th, we will be at the Welcome Week. So, like I said, lots of stuff we've done this summer, so
Yeah.
if there's any questions, let me know.
Thanks, Trey.
Thanks, Trey.
Thank you.
Any commissioners have questions for Trey?
I have one question.
Okay.
Yes.
Trey, good to see you again.
You as well.
So I am curious, you mentioned about the clothing drive, and I was
Yeah.
thinking too about the accessibility for those in our community who might not feel safe, like going to the location of it. Have you considered talking with some of the resilience hubs in town, including the neighborhood centers of Johnson County, which is where we were previously, or even the bike library, who might be spaces where people feel comfortable to access winter gear should they need it, or other places as well?
I have not. So last year we picked up, because it's not exclusively the Iowa City Police Department, it's with the CRC, and they have a location that's accessible to bus routes, basically, is what we planned on. But that is good thinking in terms of thinking of other places that we could have, even like satellite locations. That's not entirely just my decision, so I'd have to bring that up with
Yeah.
them, but I can certainly
Great.
figure out if that's something that they've thought about, to have items there that are maybe not extra, but, thought of as a different location, so it's not on site to everyone else. That makes sense.
Yep,
I could
great.
bring that up at our next meeting.
Thank you. Thanks.
And to answer your question, Stephanie, you asked what CVI was. It's Community Violence Intervention. It's ran by the county, and Jess Lang is the person who's in charge of it, but it's overseen by Rachel Zimmerman Smith.
I think also they're moving into the neighborhood centers of Johnson County, right? Shift is happening
I
right
believe
now,
so. I
think.
know they're in their building that's off of Muscatine.
Yeah.
They've been there for a while, but they're probably much more integrated. They just got a brand new member on the CVI team, Marcus Brooks. So they just had their 2-year anniversary on Friday that I attended.
Great. Very cool.
I just want to comment and I say thank you so much for always being, everywhere and trying to help
Absolutely,
the
Vi.
community. It was a pleasure, working around you guys in the the Iowa Kids Health Distribution or
Yeah.
something like this. I keep forgetting the title. But I think it's very, very beneficial for our community always to see the police department involved and
Yeah,
being
absolutely.
around them, and even the fire department working side by side.
Yeah.
It's really some of the tension, and it builds confidence within the community, and I'm grateful for that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Also grateful for trying to arrange something for the Marion Girls Club, and I'm looking so forward, for working with you guys again.
Yep.
Thank you.
You as well. Thank you.
You guys really had to endure some heat this summer.
We did. Last year, I would argue was a little bit hotter, but this year we did. I am very thankful for our EMS camp.
Yeah.
The first 2 days on Monday and Tuesday were very brutal with the heat, but then the last 2 days was much cooler.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
you're welcome. Let me finish my note before I forget.
Sure.
Any
Thanks
other
again,
questions?
I think that's it.
Right on. Thank you,
All
guys.
right.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is a presentation on transit and development, the GIS mapping analysis from Yiru Wang.
Hi,
Hi.
my name's Jeremy Ensley, and Yuru couldn't be here because it's the end of her internship, but I'll be presenting it tonight.
Can you get your mouth closer to the mic?
Sure.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, so first off, I just want to thank you for having me. And this was a summer project by our CTC's intern, Yuru Wang. She worked on this all summer very hard, and it was pretty amazing that she pulled all this off. So tonight I'll be talking about transit-oriented development and opportunities in Iowa City, Coralville, and North Liberty. This research focuses on finding the best locations for affordable housing and improved transit access, with special attention to serving communities that depend on public transportation. So what is transit-oriented development? Transit-oriented development, or TOD, is a planning approach that places housing, jobs, and services within walking distance of public transit stations. TOD areas are typically have medium to high housing density and are designed to make walking and biking safe and convenient rather than requiring car ownership. TOD serves several important purposes. It reduces transportation costs for families and makes public transit more financially sustainable. TOD creates opportunities for mixed income housing and protects mobility rights for people who depend on transit. This includes students, low-income families, people with disabilities, and households without cars. TOD also strengthens the connection between where people live and where they work. When done well, TOD attracts private investment and helps communities grow economically. So our background and goals for this project. So our region faces several challenges that TOD can help address. Many of our transit corridors are surrounded by a low-density development that limits ridership potential. Meanwhile, there's a growing need for affordable housing and better mobility access for people who depend on transit. Many areas with strong transit access remain underused because current zoning policies only allow expensive, low-density housing. So this creates an unfair situation where people who most need transit access are pushed furthest away from it. Our study asks a key question: where can TOD most effectively increase ridership, improve mobility access, and access social equity? So our research methods. So we developed a mapping system that scored every neighborhood in the 3 cities based on the potential for successful TOD. We used 4 main categories of information to create these scores. Transit accessibility received 30% of the total weight because easy access to bus routes is essential for TOD access. Equity factors received 25% of the weight, and we mapped areas with high numbers of low-income households and zero-car households because these residents depend most on public transit. Land use and housing capacity received 24% of the weight. We calculated how much additional housing could be built under current zoning rules and identified underused areas like large parking lots that could be redeveloped. Economic and service indicators received 20% of the weight, and we mapped job centers and essential services because successful TOD needs nearby destinations that people can reach by transit. So we combined all these factors together into a single score for each neighborhood. Areas with higher scores have better conditions for TOD that would serve transit-dependent residents and create affordable housing opportunities. So our key findings, our analysis identified 5 areas with the highest potential for equitable TOD. Downtown Iowa City scored highest because it combines strong transit access with many residents who depend on transit. Southeastern Iowa City also ranked high due to good transit coverage and affordable housing potential. Iowa City West Riverfront areas offer opportunities for new development near existing transit routes. Western Iowa City showed strong potential, particularly areas that already serve low-income and zero-car households. The Southeastern Corridor, Coralville Transit Corridor also ranked high because it has a good transit access and housing development opportunities. North Liberty scored lower overall. Most of North Liberty is more than 3/4 of a mile from the nearest bus stop, which creates a barrier for people who depend on transit. Although North Liberty has an excellent on-demand transit service, TOD is based on a fixed route, so we didn't include it in our analysis. So these kind of goes over some of the areas that we identified. We identified 2 tiers. So tier 1 areas offer the most immediate opportunities because they already allow mixed-use development. So in Iowa City, this includes downtown areas from Burlington Street to Iowa City. We'll go back to the map. Burlington Street to the Iowa Interstate Railroad, from Clinton to Gilbert Street. It also includes Jefferson Street area south of the Medical Center and West Riverfront areas between Myrtle Avenue and West Benton Street. In Coralville, the area west of the University of Iowa Oakdale campus falls into Tier 1. Tier 2 areas have high TOD potential but need zoning changes to allow affordable housing development. These areas currently have commercial zoning that provides services but does not permit residential development. So with targeted policy changes, these areas could become strong TOD locations. Tier 2 includes additional areas in downtown Iowa City, south side near Hy-Vee, West High School area, and West Benton Street areas. In Coralville, it includes areas near the Oakdale campus and the central commercial area near Coral Ridge Mall. North Liberty has 1 Tier 2 area between West Cherry Street and West Zeller Street. And we acknowledge some of these areas are currently under construction or destruction, if you look at Coralville. But but we have to choose as a community how we allocate land through zoning and to allow more housing. That leads into their housing challenge. So our research revealed a barrier to equitable TOD. Many of the areas with the strongest transit access and highest numbers of transit-dependent residents are zoned for only low-density housing, which tends to be expensive. And current zoning rules, like in downtown Iowa City, the west riverfront areas, and the southwestern Coralville Transit Center, prevent affordable housing development that these communities need. So this means that families who depend on transit often can't afford to live near bus routes they need. Meanwhile, people who can afford cars and expensive housing get benefits of living near transit. And this is working against equity. And so our recommendations, first we recommend prioritizing the tier 1 and 2 areas, improving transit service and adding affordable housing in these locations will directly benefit people who already depend on transit in their daily lives.
Do you have a screen for recommendations?
Sorry?
Do you have a screen for recommendations? Thanks.
Yeah. And so our second recommendation is local government should reform zoning policies to allow higher density and mixed-use development near transit stations. This doesn't necessarily mean tall apartment buildings. So like missing middle housing like duplexes, townhomes, and small apartment buildings can provide affordable housing that fits into the existing neighborhoods. And these housing types can serve diverse income levels while supporting transit ridership. And third, communities should leverage public land and underutilized areas for affordable TOD by building new public housing units. Redeveloping government-owned parcels and large parking lots can reduce development costs and speed up implementation when ensuring public benefit. And fourth, and most importantly, TOD implementation must include zoning protection, strong protection against displacement. TOD should benefit existing residents, especially low-income and transit-dependent households, rather than forcing them to move away. And this requires anti-displacement policies, development of new public housing units, and inclusionary zoning requirements that ensure new developments include affordable units. So without these protections, TOD can harm communities that it's meant to serve. Rising property values near improved transit can push out the people who most need access. So those are our references. In conclusion, transit TOD can offer our region a path towards more equitable and sustainable growth. Our analysis shows exactly where affordable housing near transit can have the greatest impact on people's lives. The areas we identified already serve many transit-dependent residents and offer the best opportunities for creating more affordable housing near transit. However, TOD will only advance equity if we intentionally design it to do so. This means updating zoning policies to allow affordable housing near transit, using public resources to create affordable TOD, and implementing strong anti-displacement protections. Yep.
Great. Thank you. We can open the floor up for questions.
One of the values in Iowa City is the electric buses and an environmental consciousness, which I think is also a feature in what you're working on. Is some means to get more people to ride the buses, making sure that we have equitable access, but less cars.
Yeah, so TOD is a way that you can find out where you can build affordable housing that will make it so people that live in that housing can access transit better. So it makes your city more efficient.
I liked it when the bus stopped across the street from my house, because we could, we lived with one car then. Mm-hmm. Then you moved it.
Exactly. I didn't do it.
So now we have two cars.
I wonder, would you mind speaking to the relationship of what we can learn from TOD when it comes to location of bus stop shelters and making sure that people who are waiting for the bus have an adequate shelter, especially in inclement weather that we have in Iowa, such as very
Right.
hot weather, very cold weather. Is there a relationship with some of the TOD research or things that we can learn about that and where we locate those bus stop shelters?
Yeah, so TOD incorporates affordable housing developments, and those types of developments have infrastructure. So as a part of a project, you can add bus shelters as part of the development. But a lot of Iowa City is built up already. But if there were zoning changes that allowed higher density housing in some areas, then developers might be interested in building and incorporating that kind of thing into new projects.
Okay. Yeah, I would be curious to kind of talk with you more, hear more about that too, because I think too where, I would imagine there might even be a relationship with some of the tree cover in these locations too, where there are opportune spaces that your student has identified. And without tree cover, are people willing to stand outside in the sun, even if there was a bus coming to their area? And so making sure that accessibility is also a part of any revisions in transit is also, I think, an important factor.
Yeah. Yeah, this map shows, and I kind of went over everything really fast, but the darker blue areas on this map are where housing density is lowest, but zoning currently allows more development. So without any changes in the zoning code, more housing could be built in these areas. More higher density housing.
So where's the next step in terms of action?
The next steps in terms of action would be to work with the probably planning and zoning and the comprehensive plan and kind of approaching housing from a zoning perspective. There was a project in Riverfront Crossings that included inclusionary zoning, and Iowa City has historic neighborhoods, but it also has large parking lots that have nothing on them. So, which was something that we identified.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of going off of that, I was wondering if these zones that had the potential to have more high-density housing, are they mostly historical zones? Or is that what the problem is being faced here?
Some of them are historical zones. Some of them are commercial zones with large parking footprints that aren't being utilized. Some of them are just areas that are not necessarily historical, but they're lower density, single housing.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
single family housing. So this north area would probably be historical.
On the north side.
Thank you.
Yeah. And this area in blue, one of the places we identified in Coralville is already being destructed right now. So we'll see what happens.
Being destructed?
On the corner of the Coralville strip, which is a large area. And another concept is mixed use housing. So looking at all of those different types of housing options. All right, any more questions?
I have a question for the future. It's
Okay.
not like an immediate one, but I think when we're looking at the outer edges, especially of Iowa City and the expansion east of Iowa City but south and kind of like moving outside of the zones currently within our region, let's put it that way, within the three cities. What might we learn from TOD? What should actors be thinking about, especially for our city council here in Iowa City, when thinking about expansion and from an equity perspective with transportation?
Concentrating affordable housing near transit, and building new affordable housing that is higher density.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, one question that kind of
Okay.
came up to me here on that. A lot of this is centered around housing, and rightfully so. But what about kind of the other end of transportation, right? From getting from point A to point B. What about that point B and transportation access to services? I think the biggest example that comes up was the transfer of the Department of Transportation. Right, that used to be on the east side of Iowa City, right by a bus stop, and now is
Yep.
way out in Coralville with no
Yeah.
bus service to it. Right, are there thoughts, or have you looked at any of that, like transportation, access to those goods and services that folks who are reliant on public transport need?
Yes, that's what we usually look at.
Okay.
CETC, but yes, it's a matter of getting public input and using public input, and listening to the public and what is most important. CTC, we did a survey in 2015 where we found that a third of the people that we talked to weren't able to find employment because of transportation. And most of that was because of late night transit. And that's something that we brought up during the transit study process, with the outside contractor to do that study, but it wasn't important, and that wasn't something that got implemented. And so, reaching the driver's license, the station, it seems like an obvious thing that people need to reach.
Right. And I know that comes to mind
Yeah.
just because, that was publicized, but, what else is out there that maybe we don't know about as well? Yeah.
Yeah, so we did a study of employers as well in 2018, and all through the Coralville Strip, there were problems with transportation for people that need to get home after work, and like hotels, retail employers. So there's a lot of people that depend on transportation, public transit, that aren't able to take advantage of it because it doesn't meet their needs, for a whole host of reasons.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation. Are you able to share these slides?
Yep, definitely.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be great. I'd love to have a copy
Yeah,
just to kind of, I could spend an hour looking at this map, so like being able to see a closer version of it would be great.
Yeah, and we have our research on our website, so it's ctcjc.org.
ctcjc.org. Great.
And we'll be
Thank
putting
your
this on.
student as well for their
Yes.
research and their work.
Yeah, she was a first-year public affairs student, and this is a lot of data to crunch.
Yeah, it's impressive. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Item number 8 on the agenda, the African Festival on Saturday, October 4th from 12 to 9. I didn't see anything on this in the packet. Stephanie, do you have any more information on it? No?
I don't have it. I don't have any more information on it. I was checking to see if anybody was interested in serving as a vendor is all, but I don't have the details yet, other than the time and the location.
Okay, all right, great. So we mark our calendars, and once we get some location and other information, maybe next month, then we can look at that. Item number 9 is in the packet, the CCAN Con, the Community Corridor Community Action Network. Saturday, October 11th from 11 to 5 at the Ped Mall and the Iowa City Library. Opportunity to table, lead a workshop, training, teach an interactive activity, facilitate a community conversation. I think there's a lot of opportunity here. So, at the very minimum, I think a table might be a good idea. Thoughts, questions, availability, anyone interested?
If there was someone willing to do it with me, I'd be interested. I will be just getting back from the UK that night or that morning. So I can't commit to it yet, but I do agree with you, Doug. I think it would be great, and I'm happy to work with somebody in case I can't actually be physically on site that day.
Okay.
I agree, it's a good idea. I'm out of town, otherwise I would.
I'm away.
Yeah,
I'm away.
Yep, I'm in Madison that weekend. Yep,
Dropping like
I know,
flies.
sorry. We need to
Maybe
talk to County Supervisor Remington and tell her to check the Iowa football schedule when she schedules things. Yeah, it is an away game, so I'll give her
maybe
that.
Roger
But yeah.
Lubna? I said maybe Roger or Lubna would be interested.
Maybe Roger or Lubna on that date. Yeah, the 11th. Okay. All right. So more to come on that as well, but good to
Yeah.
keep that on the calendar. Anything else you wanted to add, Kelsey?
Well, I was just going to say that since Mandy has requested that people contact her, I could just be in touch to say, hey, we're interested, but don't actually have the availability, or we're not
I know,
confirmed on that yet. So, but keep us in the loop. I can send her a note.
Perfect. All right.
So Kelsey, so mine's a question mark. I might be here.
Oh, okay, great.
Excellent. All right. Okay, great. Item number 10, Indigenous Peoples Day, Sunday, October 12th from 2 to 5:30. And I didn't see any details on this one. I assume this is with Great Plains Action Society have an event? Yeah?
I think the only thing that's available is just a flyer. It would just be an email.
Oh, okay.
They did move it, I think in the past it's been on Monday, so they moved it to Sunday.
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
To allow more folks to participate and for it to go.
Well, maybe
on.
this will be a warmer day.
Yeah, hopefully. I know.
I'm interested in being there,
Okay.
so if they ask for a tabling,
And if you need a backup, I'll be back by then.
okay, sure. That's great.
Okay, great. So
Yeah, I'll be there.
Harkin, Kadura, Prees, all at that. All right, perfect.
It was just so cold last year.
Yeah.
It was.
We froze.
I know. But it was great, and every year it gets better and better too, so.
Great.
we get to
I can bring some hand warmers.
Okay, all right. Then item 11, open records and open meetings law updates. We've gotten a couple emails about this. This is in the packet as well. There is a required training for all of us. The city council is requiring that all board and commission members, not just the newly appointed members, but all of us, complete a training on the open meetings laws. There are several in the packet, one on August 26th, so the one that is happening right now. So I assume no one is doing that unless that's where Roger is. And then there's one on September 10th from noon to 1:30.
I'm registered for that one.
I'm registered for that one as well. Great.
And how many?
So was Tyler.
Oh, okay, great.
I think I did too.
You did too. All right. And then there's one September 24th in the evening. That registration just opened. I know the email said that spots go quickly. I think I registered the September 10th one. I think I registered just a few days ago. So I know there
that's
were some
good.
spots open for
Okay,
that.
so I got Mark, Viana, Doug, and I thought I heard somebody else.
I also registered
Okay.
for the September 24th one. There was
Okay.
one spot left.
Oh,
when I
Perfect.
registered.
Thank you.
Is that in person or?
It's on
it's
Zoom.
online.
Ah, okay.
I am currently registering for the 24th of September.
Okay, great.
Hopefully that one spot is still left.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so just a reminder of that. And then just the last thing that's highlighted there in our packet about this is that when you complete the training, to forward a copy of the certificate to Stephanie, so that the city has that on file.
And one of the emails, I think, spoke to this, but part of the reason and the importance of this is the legislature in the last session increased the fines that could be assessed to individual members for violating the rules. And so it would be to everyone's benefit if we all were refreshed on open meetings and public records, so.
All right, great. Any questions on that? Okay, fantastic. Then moving on to agenda item 12, update on the 2025 Human Rights Awards breakfast. There's a flyer in the packet for nominations. The deadline for those is September 19th. QR code there to forward along. I don't believe we're allowed to nominate people, but we can, encourage others to nominate. Is that correct, Stephanie? Or are we?
Yeah, well, I think we black out the names,
Oh, okay.
so
Okay.
unless it's obvious.
All right, then nominate away. Anything else you wanted to add there, Stephanie?
Just that
date of
I
the-
will
yeah.
need, it's best to have 3, but we could do 2. 2 is just kind of a concern if there's a tie, but 3 commissioners who would, if they're due the 19th, would hopefully be able to take a look at them that 21st. I would have them available to send out that Saturday morning, so you could meet Saturday or Sunday, but take the opportunity to select the winners on behalf of the commission. That would be great. I don't think it's a long commitment. The
No,
nominations
it's not.
generally are not long.
Yeah, I think Roger and I did it last year, and it
Yeah,
was,
they're-
it wasn't too bad. I did it from my dad's hospital room, so it was,
Yeah.
you read through it, and Roger and I had maybe a 20-minute conversation and went through it, and, because we agreed on things pretty easily. That's the only thing that would be more time-consuming, is if there were, some really, really strong candidates that you had, a split decision on. But, yeah, I'd be interested in doing that again.
Thank you.
That was enjoyable.
I'd volunteer as well.
Thank you. And I can always send, like, we've already received, the commission has already received 3. And so if you want, me to just piecemeal those and send them out as I get them, I can do that also. And that way you don't have to wait till the very end to read them all too. So it's just personal preference.
I'd prefer to get them all at once, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
then it's easier to keep track of. And
Sure,
yeah.
okay.
Mhm. Okay. Others, anyone else? All right.
I flagged to Stephanie that the dates for our Human Rights Award breakfast conflicts unfortunately with the time that I'm planning to be out of town on work. And so when we get into kind of roles and responsibilities, I unfortunately don't think I'll be able to join you all on that date. So I wanted to flag.
Yeah. Do we have a reminder of what that date is?
The 23rd, I believe?
October
October
22nd,
22nd.
6:45, I think.
Okay. I know I have it in my calendar, but just
Don't 100% quote me, though.
include that as we're discussing here.
I've never enjoyed such an early morning activity before. It's really
I
great.
know, right? Yeah. Well, the free food helps, right? The breakfast is usually very good.
And we need 3 speakers and ideally 1 commissioner to help, to hold the award, basically, I think is how we did it last year. So we need somebody to do the opening, the awards. Usually it's the chair and vice chair, but I understand this year we might have to switch it up, which is fine. And then the closing is for somebody who just wants to give a few lines. It's usually the shortest part, so. If you want, I guess you can, if you prefer to work things out in September. I mean, Doug,
I could do the awards. like
okay.
I
You
did
You know, I'm
last
going
or
to be
whatever.
there. Put me to
Okay,
work.
all right, Mark, do you want to do the opening then? I think after Kelsey, you're longest tenured, so I think you should get first shot at it.
All right,
Right of first refusal.
I got it.
Okay,
All right.
and we can revisit in September, because that
Sure.
still allows enough time to get it on the program and get it printed, so I'll just kind of
All
read
right.
it out.
Looking forward to that. All right. Agenda item 13, then, community dialogue conversations update. Kelsey?
Great. I've had some really great conversations with community leaders in kind of all corners of Iowa City, but then also kind of blurring into Johnson County a little bit. We will be convening soon. I will share directly with commissioners some details on that. The first dialogue will be invite only and more of a just a focused conversation, if you will. So that's the update for now, but trust that more's coming specifically your way soon. Yeah.
Any ballpark idea, like September, October, when you're looking at doing that? It's okay if you don't, just wondering.
Let me get back to you. There's a couple of things I wanted to think about through this week in terms of actual scheduling, but I think the likely that timeframe of late September, early October.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. All right, any questions or anything else on that? Okay, then item 14, GrantNet Human Rights Grant Update. I believe, Dr. Liz, you are on this?
So we had a wonderful meeting. We had a healthy agenda, but we got through the introductions and the updates, and then it was time. So,
No.
so much needed, I think, togetherness is what I feel. Yeah, and so we're hoping that it'll launch on its own. So I am having side combos to do that and support that process. Yeah.
Did you use the word launch? I got on my notes, September 4th, bike library launch.
Yes.
Is that what you were talking about?
No.
But what is that?
That
That's,
is one of our grantees.
oh, I got a huge thank you note from Kate. She's really pumped. So I'm planning to be there, but it looks like it's all day, like 12 to 6 or something. You don't know what it is.
No, I think that's a different project.
All right, I'll talk to her.
Okay. All right, then item 15, professional development for commission members and community members. And unless I missed it, I didn't see anything in the packet on this one. Stephanie, do you know what this is?
This was an email that was sent out for classes that Commissioner Viana had sent. It was a link for everybody to check out.
Okay,
It provides an option for certification.
the human rights consultant
Yeah.
certification.
But I was hoping that other commissioners can, search, like other options that, or like when we discuss something just to get us into the fields to know exactly what we're doing, what we're dealing with, or what are the potential even of carrying the Human Rights Commission to another level. So that only just a link that kept bobbing on my screen. But I'm not sure if anyone got a chance to look up something else, or if there's something in the area that can even be held in person that we can attend, or not sure.
I'm interested if you have information.
Yeah.
I can also.
Yeah, I haven't, done any work after I just sent the link to Stephanie. So
I think it's a great point though too, and I think some of these things for us to keep our eyes on them too. Many of them will have a small fee, I'm sure, with that. Stephanie, I just wanted to check for human rights related trainings for commissioners or even community members. Is that something that we have some small amount of funds available to help pursue?
Yeah, I think it's a small amount
Okay.
to pursue.
Okay.
But, lots of times there's also discounts for multiple registrations too, so I think it's probably just finding whatever has the best fit.
Great, okay. Sounds good.
Is it something that we can consider next year when we have the grants, that, the city can maybe designate, a slight portion of the grants for the Human Rights Commission to invest in training the commissioners or, offering something for them?
I would hesitate on mixing the two, just
Yeah.
because they've gone through a big grant review recently and have been really intentional about what they want the different grant processes to accomplish. But I do think that our city, and I'm sure like city manager's office, would probably be supportive of trying to find a way, if there was something that we knew we wanted to do, to upskill ourselves or others in the community on human rights trainings. Yeah.
And I think, because the budget, we have to defend our budget coming up here shortly, so if there's kind of a range, I think it's easier to sell the commission on trainings, obviously. I mean, you're commissioners, you're representing the city, so I'm not as concerned about the budget for commissioners, but for the larger community, probably would need numbers to really look at, to mention that when we're going over budgets.
When, can you mention the timeline for that?
I think I do mine the Monday before Thanksgiving,
Okay,
so.
great.
So if we decide on something, so it's need like an approval, and then,
It really matters. I mean, it's going to be based upon what the cost is. I mean, if you're looking at thousands of dollars, it's, I mean, I think the commission has done trainings where a trainer has probably been given an amount that if we could get, say, 35 people in the room and get certification, that would be more ideal than kind of an online process where each registration could run a couple $100s. So I think ideally it would maybe be to look at opportunities for people who are here in the community who maybe do this type of work or do this type of trainings, and try to work with them to come up with curriculum that you think would best fit the needs of community members, and doing it like that. I just think it's easier to pay a facilitator, so to speak, and have, 30 people in the room versus trying to get 30 people a certification, because I think that's probably where it's not going to be practical on a budgetary level.
When you make your case for your budget, do you have to share with the city statistics about complaints and what the issues are?
Really, everything you do. I
Okay.
mean, it's everything.
Okay.
From the number of followers on social media to the numbers of subscribers, so it's a full picture. But
Yeah, I
like I
was
said, I
thinking
think
about
it's doable. I just think the approach is more looking at,
They're not looking at your caseload.
they're looking at numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking at everything.
Great. Related to that, Stephanie, I don't know if there's anything with the reaffirmation of gender as a protected identity within Iowa City that we should be keeping in mind as human rights commissioners, or if there's anything that you want to make sure that we are mindful of in this timeframe too, since your office and the Human Rights Commission was evoked in some of that statement and discussion.
Yeah. And it's not on the agenda, but I can say that most of that is just going to be codified in Title II of the Human Rights Ordinance, or Title II of the City Code. And if you actually go to, I think it's purpose construction, that's where you're going to see, it's within the first pages of that ordinance where you'll see where that information was pulled from.
Great.
So, yeah.
Okay, so sounds like if any of us are approached with a reporting, let's say, that we can just contact you regarding that.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Definitely reach out to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Do you want to know us what we've been doing? Is that where we are?
That's where we are, Mark. You're chomping at the bit. Go for it.
Well, I was confused because I didn't see it here like that.
Well, we were still kind of talking about professional development there, but yeah, I think we're kind of wrapping that up and going into updates, so go for it.
I sent to some of you this video by Brian McLaren of Polycrisis. And if you'd like it, Vivian, I didn't send it to you. Emily, I didn't send it to you. But anyway, Polycrisis is that there's so many things going wrong all at the same time that you can't pull it apart so you can bring any resolution to any of them. And I thought it was really insightful and important. So he had some interesting quotes that I wanted to just, we have to hear the cries of the earth and the cries of the poor. And that was Pope Francis, and then there were some Islamic scholars that gathered together and signed onto that. Not nation leaders, but scholars. And that was very compelling for me. My granddaughter took the pharmacist oath on Saturday. She started, and there's a line in it that I want to read to you. It's the third line that every pharmacist says. I will promote inclusion and belonging, respect differences in all individuals, and address health disparities to advance health equity for all people. I say, oh yeah, I want everybody to do that, but I don't want to put a label on it. So August 5th, I was at the ICE office in Cedar Rapids. Next Tuesday, I'll be at the ICE office in Cedar Rapids.
You can share some information on that as well, because I'd be interested if I'm available.
Oh, going to the ICE office, it's 7:30
In Cedar Rapids.
in Cedar Rapids, and I'm going to give you the address,
Can you email it to?
probably. Oh, wait, why didn't I write that down? I did, I sent it to you. 3351 Square D Drive Southwest. 3351 Square D Drive Southwest. So it's the first exit after Highway 30 as you go north on 380, and then you go west. Increasingly, the crowds are bigger, and I think this will even be bigger. I had a question, Stephanie. Elected leaders can go in with people who need to report. So like Oliver, our city council member, did. That was kind of cute. There were a lot of city council people there, but they had to keep distance from each other because of the open meetings law. Could I go in as an appointed?
I don't know anything about
Okay,
that.
I
would
might
have
try.
to
I might
ask
wear
the
my
city
pin and
attorney.
try it.
I don't- I'm not
Last time I was going to go, and I was told by Leslie that they didn't need to know my name. So I didn't wear this, but I think I'll wear this. And I'm dressed in blacks. It's interesting. From the Catholic community, there have been objections that the Catholic Church had been so aggressive about abortion and has seemed to be quiet about this refugee crisis. And it seems odd. I talked enough.
We're not allowed to discuss things, so but I know there are several priests who have kind of led some of that too, but so it's more of a local thing, I think. But other updates?
Well, I'll talk
Okay,
since
yeah, go ahead.
I think I'll also be there on Tuesday. But other times I've also attended Know Your Rights, and the ethical dilemma, it continues to be where immigrants, refugees do the right thing, the legal thing to go into their appointments. But we all know that turns out into an illegal arrest. And then the question is, then why do the legal thing? So it's like that constant weighing, because then the alternative is then there's a cause to get arrested if you don't go. And then who's right and who's not. So that's been definitely a dilemma within the communities, especially when you're a parent and you're planning for the safety of your children. Also, just to share, I'm on the board for NAMI, just helping to expand the services in mental health in our community, our county. And there's new ways of looking to support. So peer support, we know, is driven as an excellent, effective intervention, and they're looking to expand that. And then also part of United Way Drive, we just had a backpack drive for the communities. And I can share that as I continue.
Okay, I can go next. Well, regarding some updates, I just held Parents Orientations Day for the Mariam Girls Club, and lots of parents are really looking forward for another year. We just wrapped up our 7th year of Mariam Girls Club, and we keep growing, and the need keep growing as well. So I'm looking forward to, channel what's left of my energy to keep going. Looking at this book, I'm not sure, I have no idea if Stephanie, she mentioned this book before, like, why do we have this book? Maybe I came late.
No,
No,
it's
not yet.
in the pack, so that will be
Okay.
the Lynn's webinar. We'll have an hour and a half to speak with the author,
Sure.
who wrote the book, and to talk about the working homeless, I think is what it's called.
Well, it just captured my attention because for the past week I've been talking with my children about homelessness and about, what we saw in our visit to California. It's the homelessness, it's a tragedy, and it's been growing and growing nonstop. And it's just breaking my heart just driving on Gilbert Street by the shelter house and the encampment of, it's growing and it's scary. And I kept thinking, oh my God, this nation, our nation is just plunging into chasm. We cannot even support our own people, even in a small city like Iowa City compared by the bigger, areas. So this, I think I'm going to be reading this. This is going to be my book. Other than that, we're still following up the tragedy that's happening in Palestine. So the death toll that I keep telling you is around 80,000 dead, but that's not considering what's the estimate, which is around 400,000 dead right now. That's minus the people under the rubble, minus the kidnapped ones, minus the prisoned ones, minus the amputated children and women and people over there, minus the pregnant women who are just miscarrying every day. This is not a war on Muslims or on Arabs or on Palestinians or in just specific group of people or gender. This is a genocide against humanity. And the weakest of our strength is to speak about it. And if we don't know nothing about it, we have to learn about it. I'm losing my energy, but I cannot compare myself to what they're going through. So sometimes when I'm just so tired and I don't want to speak about it, I said, oh my God, what if I am among them and smelling the blood and the death over there? So I cannot even be tired. I have to encourage myself, if they are not tired, if they're living death, smelling the blood every day, I cannot complain and say I'm tired. So I urge everyone, I plead to everyone, this is against all human beings on this earth. We cannot forget the people in Sudan, in Congo, and other places too. The Rohingya, in China, and all the Muslims even, the tragedies that I've been seeing everywhere. We're living in a scary world right now. So please, let's just educate ourselves and just understand that this is a humanitarian issue. So we have to stand up for what we believe in as commissioners and as just, people with ethics and morals, that we're not selective in our empathy and our feelings and our justice and our standards. And we have to keep going. Thank you.
Thank you.
From my updates, it's, been a long summer. So I haven't been able to be as active as I'd like with vacation and all of those things that, we all end up with in the summer. But I think, as summer winds down and school is back in session this week, I think what I'd like us to think a little bit as well about the students who are now part of the Iowa City community who have returned to campus, and many of those minorities, students from other countries, LGBTQ students who do not have the support system that used to be there because of the Board of Regents and the state legislature declaring those to be illegal. So, I believe there's a gap there that the Iowa City community might be able to help fill. So just something to think about as we get into the school year, and we welcome those students back into the community and the new students into our community, making sure they know that as the city council affirmed with the gender identity declaration and ordinance, that that Iowa City is an outlier and does not necessarily agree with the things that are happening at the state level. Other than that, I was at a big healthcare conference in Madison last week, and then Stephanie sent out an email. There's the statewide LGBTQ wellness conference is always held in Iowa City, and so that's a great way to learn about equity in healthcare. So I would encourage others to join me there, and yeah, I think I had another idea, but I forgot to write it down. So. Yeah. Oh, that was the other idea. I just saw Kelsey's note. We've seen recently, in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C., the use of the National Guard and the United States military against American citizens and deployed within our own borders. And reports show that is expanding into Chicago, and there's a list of other states where it's being considered, and Iowa is one of those states. So I think as a Human Rights Commission, some forward thinking and what happens if Iowa City ends up being a place where military presence is brought in. What are things that we as a Human Rights Commission can do to stand up for the rights of our fellow citizens against kind of unconstitutional occupation by our own military? I just the thought is just baffling to me. I can't believe I'm saying it doesn't. There's a cognitive dissonance in my head about that, because it shouldn't be happening. But what if it does? And how can we proactively put together or be prepared to respond to that? So just something for us all to think about and maybe, discuss at a future meeting. So, yeah, Kelsey.
Okay, thanks, Doug. Totally agree. So, okay, so one update since we last met. I know several of us also participated in the party in the parks. I don't know if we talked about that before, but just wanted to say it was great to participate in that. I know, I think several others did too, and I found it to be interesting to be in a different neighborhood near my own, but notice and see the diversity of the neighborhood and the families that were present and how they enjoyed the event. So a big thanks to Stephanie for coordinating that, especially on the swag items too. They seem to be really appreciated and played with. And big kudos to those that are behind the organizing of those community events for us, because I think there's been some really great Summer of the Arts programming too, in addition to the Party in the Parks. And we even appreciated a singer-songwriter in our local park too recently. And so just makes it a nice place to live, especially for Iowa City residents who do stay over the summer, and bring us together in ways that maybe is unexpected or more ad hoc. The Bike Libraries event was mentioned earlier. I just wanted to clarify that the September 4th is the launch of their public capital campaign. So where they've been quietly raising money to support some of their key goals going forward. This is now their first kind of public effort to raise funds. They do have a few different goals with that. They want to invest in their youth and teen programming to equip them with skills and confidence. They continue to redesign their outdoor space into an educational green space and third place for connection. They want to elevate their shop to better serve patrons with dignity, efficiency, and care. And they're becoming a resiliency hub. So this is something I believe that they've already established too, which means that they're a place for support, repair, and refuge during times of need. So it's a fundraising event from my own knowledge, but also to let the community know what they're doing and why.
I learned it from Kate when she sent me the thank you note. I
Great.
just looked it up.
Yeah. Okay, and then I wanted to mention that we've been talking about housing, and Viana, you even mentioned about your children's experience looking at the encampment near Shelter House. I wanted to mention that recently there was a man who intentionally drove into that encampment near Shelter House, and I think in context of that, it would be particularly important to look at the structural issues that are happening right now that many people who are living in that encampment are facing. And I would encourage and invite that we at the Iowa City Human Rights Commission actually prepare a statement on this. And so if you're interested in working on that with me, please contact me after this, and we'll prepare something hopefully for the next meeting's agenda and go from there. I think that's it for my updates. I'll stop there anyway.
Okay. Commissioner Mohabed, I see your hand raised.
Yeah, hi. Okay, yeah, she mentioned that. I want to ask earlier, but she mentioned that now about the accident happened at the Shelter House. And I was wondering, where is this happened, like the area? And last Sunday, I went to take some donation, and he asked me, I went first time in the front, and he asked me, I said, I want to come back again. And he said, okay, come to the back of the shelter. There is a door for donation. And when I pulled up there, I was surprised when I saw the tents there. And that's where the accident happened, and it made me very, very sad. Like all these tents there outside. And each tent has like a lot of stuff inside and outside. And it's very sad, And I asked the guy, I said, what is going on? And he said, we don't have enough beds. And the people, I said, okay, but this is not healthy, And this is very sad, And I will talk to Bruce, the mayor. And he said, okay. And I called Bruce on Monday. I said, or Sunday, the same day or the next day. And he said, the landlord stopped, like rent the houses for people from shelter. And that is very disappointed. And he said also Trump cut the fund for the people that, for the shelter, because they doing drugs and alcohol. I said, okay, for that, when someone doesn't have a stable house and live outside and they don't know where to go, is that normal for them to do drugs or alcohol or any criminal? Okay, but this is not excuse that because these people, they're doing that, we are not provided. And that, what I saw, the tents is very, made me very, very, very sad. I couldn't sleep that night. I woke up in the middle of the night. I say, why is this happening in city of Iowa City? And we have the city, we have the councils, we have everything. And I feel that, my hands are tied. I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
you.
thank you for that, Lumna. Do you have any other updates while you have the floor?
No, that's it.
All right, thank you. Emily?
Yeah, I'll finish this off pretty briefly. Doug brought up one of the things, or the thing that I mostly wanted to talk about, which is students reentering the population of Iowa City. My sister moved into her dorm 2 weeks ago, so it really got me thinking, especially working downtown, living downtown, seeing the immense numbers of students come back, whether they're freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. This is a new population, if not new in all, or in its entirety, it's new in part. And we have to make sure that we come to support them as they will come to support us in our city, encouraging bonds and trust that's been really, really stretched nationally, statewide, governments, making sure that our community supports them, they support us as they might choose to live here, as they continue on in the future, as I did.
Thank you. Yeah, same. Right? If I hadn't been a student in Iowa, I would not be a resident of Iowa City right now. Yep.
I have an additional.
Oh, sure.
So I'm thinking that I don't know how to do this, but is there a way for us to develop working groups that can focus on certain concerns or agenda items that we talked about? It's really tough to talk about that here because we're not able to support each other as we talk. So I don't know what the rules are around being able to develop a working group around the topics. And then I'm interested also in a working group for marketing, which yields to how do we support the new students and everyone else, new residents, in town, and do that with an agenda. So I want to put that out there, and maybe we could talk about it over email, but I know that Stephanie is just an incredible organizer, and we kind of need help there. Continued support with you, Stephanie, because you really also help with the launch of the coalition idea, so thank you.
And I think one thing that we talked about kind of as we went this year, we disbanded our old kind of groups was that, right? It was,
Right.
we would come up with some ad hoc. And so I think, between Dr. Liz and Emily and myself with kind of our ties to the university as alumni, staff, student, that maybe the three of us could put together a kind of university relations subcommittee and kind of work on that outreach to fill that gap that the university is no longer able to.
Love that. And then also for the National Guard, from my understanding is that we have a partnership with the police department, and I think that is a triangle we could consider if and when we get the visit or the call that the National Guard is in town. So sort of being able to plan ahead and instead of having to intervene.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know Stephanie looks like she's going to yell at us for a conversation about in our update section. So Kelsey, you have one more comment and then we'll probably take this offline.
Sure, I'll loop it as an update. And one additional update. I think Liz has great ideas. I think especially in the conversations I've been having when it comes to some of the themes that we might want working groups on, to your point, Liz, let me download some of the things I've heard. So let's do that before our next meeting too and facilitate some of that.
Great. And I think Kelsey and I can work with Stephanie as chair, vice chair, and ours to put together an email and say, here are the kind of groups that we're hearing, and get an opportunity for folks to kind of sign up for those. Great. All right, Stephanie, we usually start with staff updates, but you left you to the end. Did you want to add any more about the book? I was going to ask you about it during our updates. So, yeah.
I hope everybody, Kristen read it in the office and went through it in a few days. I think once you pick it up, you go through, the pages move pretty quickly for you. And she thought it was a very sad book, but also one of the best books to really point out how, some folks are surviving or not surviving in this country. So, and then the calendars came in earlier. So those are the best calendars ever. So please make sure you put it up when the new year comes. Very informative. Every day you kind of learn something new. And it's the artist is great out of Minneapolis and does a lot of great things. So I hope you enjoy those. So
Thank you.
that is it.
Thank you. All right. And that brings us to the end of our agenda. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
Second?
A second.
All right, all those in favor of adjourn?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We are so adjourned. Thank you, everybody, and we will see you next month.
Thank you.